Hello, everyone out there in Twitch land. My name is Andrew Baldock, and this is the very first episode of the Analog Universe. I'm super amped to introduce my guests for today. I've got Brett Whittingham and Abby Thorgood of Gone Cosmic, hands down one of the coolest bands here in Calgary. What would you guys describe yourselves at? I've used like 4 different genres.
It's kind of a loaded question, hey? Like, it's even funnier because like metal shows will be the folk band, and then like folk shows will be the metal band. So
I think it was the Obelisk that described us as Progadelia.
Oh, cool.
Okay.
That's
that
pretty
one.
cool. I like that one
Yeah,
too.
okay.
Well, yeah,
Well, what I've been going with is heavy psych blues
Yeah.
Cool.
with
Yeah.
a touch of soul.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
Fully accurate.
100%.
So, Gone Cosmic is primarily here to talk about their brand new album, Send for a Warning, The Future is Calling.
Yes.
Which is a great name, by the way. Where'd that come from?
Oh, it came from the depths of my crazy brain. Honestly.
Okay, so The Future's Calling, what's it saying?
Well, that's what you got to find out. I mean, you got to listen to it, right? You got to listen to it. Like the title of the record came from The Future's Calling, which is the final track on the album.
Okay, not one of the singles we've got yet.
Not yet. But yeah, it's like, I mean, once that single releases, it's pretty wild and wacky. But
It's an exciting track on the record. It's a banger of a closer. It's not one of those closers that eases you out. It's like the closer that's like, holy crap,
The
what's
climax.
next?
It kind of
Alright.
takes you on this crazy trip and then breaks down in this, like, I don't know, Pink Floyd-esque.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm
like,
sold. I'm so
spoken
sold.
word. Like, I won't give too much away.
Yeah.
But it's It's
Okay, I mean, that segues well into my next question, which is what part of the new album are you most excited for your fans to hear?
Oh my God. I have an answer.
Go.
Yeah, and it's gonna go straight back to The Future's Calling.
Yeah.
We actually put out a call last year, I think, like early
Hold on a
last
second.
year.
Francis, pull up the video.
Oh.
Is this? Wait a minute.
Yeah,
Uh-oh.
yeah, I did my homework.
Oh, you
Like-
did. Oh no. Let's see. Oh yeah.
Yeah, look at Abby.
Oh, there she is. Look at that nerd.
Hi everyone, it's Abby from Gone Cosmic. I am
That's
reaching out to you today because I need your help. Our album is currently getting mixed by Josh Gwillem. Lots of wizardry, weirdness, and cosmic craziness going on, and we're super excited to share it with you when it's all wrapped
I
and
haven't
ready
watched
to
this in
go.
so long.
But in the meantime, there is a song on this record that I would really love your voices on. We would really love your voices on. So essentially what I'm asking, and feel free to do it or not, whatever you're comfortable with. But if you want to be involved, get your phone, record, voice memo. Essentially all you're going to say, phone, voice memo, why is it programmed that we are not good enough? That's the line. Why is it programmed that we are not good enough? And I mean, you're more than welcome to steep on that line and put whatever emotion you're feeling into that voice memo, whether you're speaking it or screaming it or any of these things. Why is it programmed that we are not good enough? I think I can speak on behalf of all the Cosmic crew that we miss you guys so much and cannot wait, oh my God, for the next show, whenever that may be. We miss you and we miss our community so much, but we're getting through it. So voice memo, if you want, why is it programmed that we are not good enough? Send that over to gonecosmicband@gmail.com. I'll put that email address into our Instagram bio as well. And I'll probably post another story after this with it. We love you. Be healthy, be safe, and be good to one another. We'll see you soon. Hi, everyone.
So
I
now
haven't
with that
watched that in forever.
context, are the people who submitted those audio tracks, are they the future?
Ooh, did you notice how I didn't say what we were doing with those voice memos in there?
I'm asking. No, okay.
Yes. And we are so stoked because Josh, pretty much we got like, I think a handful, like 20, 25 people who sent in voice memos, and it was varying on like what they did and how they sounded. They got weird and wacky with it. They got emotional with it. And all of them or a good majority, I would say all of them because it's so weird, but they are layered in one of the more intense sections of that song. So
you're on the album.
You're on the album. If you submitted, you're on the album.
No credits or royalties though.
Sorry, it's volunteer status only. Yeah, so I would say that I'm most excited about showing the people and the friends and fam and fans who actually put in for that what we created with it.
Totally.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, I'm super excited. Unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to submit. I believe you put that call out in the middle of my day job busy season. Yeah, I messed up. I really wanted to.
Next record.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's something we haven't heard yet. We have heard 3 singles.
Yes.
And all of them kind of have their own vibe going on with them. You've got one that kind of like dips through your toes a little further into metal, one that's a bit more, got the more blues vibe going on. So would you say any one of those 3 singles is a good representation of the album as a whole, or are there more surprises to come?
I would say the 3 in total encompass like a good cross section of the record, because there's heavy tracks like Crimson Hand is the first single we put out, and that's like a pretty straight ahead banger track,
which is the track in our opening, by the way.
Nice.
Oh, cool.
Nice. Yeah, one of my favorites for sure.
Yeah.
Endless is way more steeped in like emotion and atmosphere and like peaks and valleys of kind of the journey through the song, and really epic outro. And drum fill, the
drum Phil Collins
drum fill.
There's a drum Phil Collins.
There's a Phil Collins fill in there.
Yeah, right.
So that's good. And then for Sabotage was the most recent single we put out, and that's actually one of my favorite tracks on the record. And I think that one's really cool to me because it has sort of like cleaner, almost like, I don't want to say jazz, but like like dipping into that psychedelic weird world, weird timing stuff, but then really good hooky chorus. It's like one of my favorite choruses on the record. So
nice.
I would say like those 3 tracks are a good cross section, but I think we really tried to make the album like a journey and very diverse, where every song stands alone as its own thing. It's not like side A is the heavy stuff and side B is the trippy stuff. It's like it's like
definitely a journey. It's definitely a journey. And like each of the tracks on the album stand on their own.
Cool.
Yeah, like no 2 sound the same. Like it is you're walking on a path with us. Like that's kind of cliche and weird to say, but like for real, it is when I look at the record itself and kind of the experiences that we all went through in the midst of creating the record, like a lot of it was written online because we couldn't get together. We couldn't jam during the pandemic. There was pretty significant moments in my world as I'm writing lyrics where, I had a friend of mine pass away, and in very traumatic circumstance, and there's just a lot of things going on that I was able to process through the writing of this record. So it does have some heavy content in it for sure. If you're reading the lyrics, I mean, you're going to take whatever you're going to take from it, but it was definitely like my brain just like putting it out. Like, let's just
catharsis.
Let's process it.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Cool.
Well, to go back to The Future's Calling again, the last track, I would say that track alone is almost like a representative of the journey of the whole album. Like it's got
100%.
It's got super heavy intro and outro, the Pink Floyd freak out psychedelic middle, and then we get into like this proggy math zone, and then there's we're giving away a lot here, but then there's a monologue, and there's
and also
the voice memo section.
Totally. And I think like lyrically with The Future's Calling, it really does encompass the journey that is the record, because you can be going through whatever you're going through, but ultimately you're an individual person, and whatever you make of that is going to be what pulls you out of it or pushes you forward, or maybe you're just going to steep in that for a bit, and that's okay too.
All right.
Right. So it's like as a person, as a singular human, like how do your thought processes affect how you are in the world? So like what are the programs that are in your brain that maybe are serving you or aren't? And like how do you think? Like,
right.
what are we going to do? It's I'm so happy with it.
Yeah. So you guys mentioned some Pink Floyd a little bit in there on The Future's Calling. You've mentioned in past interviews that your influences are like Black Sabbath, Queens of Stone Age, Ween.
Yes.
Earthless is another one.
Yes.
Any other new content that people might be able to pick out from the new album?
Oh my goodness. I mean, vocal wise, like my influences stem. It's interesting when you've got the 4 members of Gone Cosmic because we're all pulling from different styles. So like my background is like soul, a little bit country rock here and there, like folk and indie. So for vocals, like Brittany Howard from Alabama Shakes is a huge one. Florence from Florence and the Machine is like unreal. Aretha Franklin is a staple. Patti Smith, like that's where I'm pulling for a lot of the vocal textures. But I mean, what you got, Brett?
Yeah, for me, like I love a lot of soul stuff.
Yeah.
We were just listening to Sharon Jones.
We were on the way down here.
So I love playing bass with that kind of vibe in mind, and capitalizing on Abby's incredibly bluesy, soulful voice is a thrill. So like there is a song, Envy Thrives, on the new record that I was sort of thinking from that perspective about like, let's write this sort of like groovier, hip shaky, like soul vibe, but let's do it in 5/4 time so it's weird. So like that song, like like I love a lot of like Afrobeat stuff too, influence stuff like Budo Spander, Antibalas, like Fela Kuti.
100%.
So like I'm not saying that's where that song is, but I was pulling at some of those influences in writing like the bass line behind that one.
The influences like are all over the map. Like even Darty yesterday was talking about like, you know, he's in a few projects and like how to craft his sound in a way that isn't similar, you know what I mean? Like how do you become more creative and how do you kind of step out of the norm or the patterns that you may find yourself in as a musician? And he was like, you got to listen to other stuff and you got to like take a walk and think about what you're going to write and then really dive into your brain to get out of the routine, right? So
makes sense.
It's all over the map.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So you guys recorded this album back at OCL Studios, same place you guys recorded Sideways in Time. It's also same place where some Cron Goblin stuff is recorded.
Yeah. The latest Cron Goblin record. Yeah.
What keeps bringing you back?
Ooh.
Well, the facility is incredible. Like the gear there, the live room. The live room is one of the biggest pieces for me because like we do want to capture that live performance vibe all together, all at once. Like there's lots of overdubbing that happens, but really like the basis comes from those live performances together, and then we you know build and enhance and tweak and all that. So that's great. The Neve console there is amazing. And of course, Josh Gwillem,
who
100%.
Produced,
mixed and recorded both the first record and this record and the Cron Goblin, the latest Cron Goblin record too. So those are big parts of it. And like, I personally love the experience of being there. Like
the community, right? Like when we have recorded both records, we have moved out there and lived together.
Stayed on site.
And we were fully immersed in this is what we're doing, and we're putting everything with no distraction into the record. So that is a huge pulling aspect. And then
you're not distracted by like work or like you know personal stuff
like,
going on.
Laser focus.
And it's fun. Like you build, like Abby said, sense of community with everyone working on the record, like Josh and the other staff, you know, techs that were helping us out on the record too. You know, cooking meals together. Like if you're not tracking that day, you're cooking lunch for everyone.
You're cleaning.
It's like a summer camp.
It really is.
Yeah.
The only bummer was we recorded this album in November, so we couldn't hit the pool.
I got really drunk. Sideways in Time. I think I finished my vocals and I jumped on a floaty and I drank a full bottle of wine before dinner. And it was evident that I had and Marcello and his wife, fiance at that time, but wife Bronwyn, they made this like Italian pasta, amazing meal, and I was just like, this is so good, like just like. So there was no pool time, but that's all right. That's okay.
Yeah,
you know,
lots of fun.
to like loop back though, another, I just want to touch on Josh. Like for Cosmic, the first record, So I Was in Time, was very much so like, this is Gone Cosmic. This is how we sound. And I think going back to the same producer for the second record is important because we've taken that sound of how we sound to now this is our sound. Like this is our home. This is exactly how we sound. And working with a producer that is assisting and kind of like, massaging some stuff and but knows kind of the direction that we want to go because we've worked with him was super important. So
like the first record, he was pretty hands off, and like we do a few pre-production sections where we demo the material with him live and try to like get across what the live performance we envision is to capture in the studio. First record, he was sort of pretty hands off in terms of like, rearranging sections or whatever, where the second album was a lot more like, okay, you got to repeat that part or trim that part, or you got to tighten up the kick and snare with the bass on these sections. So the pre-production was a bit more hands-on with Josh second round, which it was cool to help us like grow and evolve.
I feel like
together, and he knows us. So.
And he I feel like he put me through the ringer with the lyrics,
the vocal, the lyrics, a lot of lyrics and the vocal melodies, like.
Yeah, he pushed me, which was perfect. It's exactly what I needed. And he definitely pushed me and was like, you're being too vague here. I remember him telling me that. I was like, what are you talking to me? He's like, too vague. So he definitely, helped me in that process of like really being transparent with what I wanted to say. Other things I was like, no, I like it as it is. But you kind of have that back and forth flow. So yeah it was...
and that's part of it too. Like, I think we were getting more comfortable as a band in our individual roles and how we work together. And some things we were like, we're not compromising on that because like that's an element of
that's a core part of this track and us.
So no, we're sorry, we're not changing that part. But it's all in good faith and good love and working together. Yeah,
it's definitely like a collaborative experience. Like, goes both ways. Sometimes we say, here it is, and Josh's like, whoa, and another thing, it goes back and forth. So
speaking of collaborative experiences, I want to take a moment to talk to Twitch chat. I haven't seen too much activity in there. I know there's people watching. This is 100% interactive. If you guys have questions, if you have inside jokes, feel free to throw it up in chat, and I'll pass them on to Brett and Abby.
Perfect. Danielle, I know that you're out there and you're super high. Danny, come on, you're super high.
I am Jules asks, she wants to know what wine.
Which wine?
It was white.
Tasted like grapes.
It tasted like grapes. It was white.
Nice.
Although a band favorite is Kim Crawford.
Oh yeah. Okay. Costco.
I even got the look in the camera saying Kim Crawford. So
Kim Crawford, if you're watching,
Kim,
hit us up with a case, please.
Come on. Yeah.
Okay. So you guys went out to OCL. It was November 2020.
It was like September. Was it September or November?
November.
It was November. It was November
2020, middle of the pandemic.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So how was that? Was the pandemic actually like was that difficulty, or was it actually like a boon for you guys?
I mean, the fact that we could be very distant and careful pre-studio and then actually go out there and basically quarantine together was prime.
Yep.
But the lead up to it was so nerve-wracking because it was in the middle of one of the mini breaks of like, you can have this amount of people and you can be doing these things. And then I think the last day of the studio tracking, it shut down again and everything was shut down. Oh, and it was like the last day. I remember we were listening. We were all in like the little hangout space in OCL listening to the announcement. So, I mean, for the process, it was good because we could just be there, but we would have been there anyways, kind of secluded. Right. Leading up to the studio, it was definitely like, oh my gosh, like we've got to be masked up. We got to like sanitize like crazy. We have to be really careful, like so careful, because if one of us gets sick, that's studio time out of the question.
Yeah,
And like a lot of our rehearsals were online, which were crazy. And
like actually writing songs separated online, which is pretty wild.
And then the internet would kind of fade around 7 o'clock because everybody in Calgary was watching Netflix, so we had to like do mid-afternoon jams when we could, so it was
like I thought it was a positive in some ways that we had the studio time booked, because like we couldn't tour, we couldn't play live shows, so might as well be focusing that time on writing and pre-production. And we went super hard on demos this time, and pre-producing all these really great demos in advance. I think we went deeper than we ever have before, which was great. So like having the studio as like, this is what we're doing this year when you couldn't tour or play live was very fortunate for us. So we were thankful that we had like 60% of the record written when things went sideways. And
and I think like we navigated it just like any other band, like we did our very best. We tried to keep safe. Like even with the demo situation, like we actually went out and rented a cabin and we pulled all of our equipment out there and we stayed out there for I think like 4 or 5 days or something. And that was so instrumental to like really diving into like demoing and getting the final touches on a few of the songs. So that was really good too.
Super fun.
Yeah.
How's your birthday?
The double wide.
The double wide trailer.
Double wide Kevin.
Okay. Any major wins at the studio?
Ooh.
Well,
major wins.
I don't know. Like we're always experimenting with gear out there, which is sweet. Like for bass tracking, often we do like a DI track, and then there'd be like, I have an 8x10 and a 6x10 MPEG cabinet that we'd be miking up, and like the SVTs. But this round we primarily used this tiny PV Decade amp, which is like a little tiny practice amp.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that was mic'd up in the live room with no DI signal. So it's risky and it's raw, because it's like if you don't like a tone after, you're done.
It's too bad.
You'd have to retrack it.
Dang.
Whereas if you have that DI signal, you could reamp through a different amp or use
fix it in post.
plugins and stuff, right? So that was really cool. Marcello did a different sort of drum tracking approach where he overdubbed the crash cymbals after doing like the shells, the toms, and ride and hi-hat, and that just allows for like more room to mix, because you don't have those crashes dominating the other drum hits all in that same performance. So that was unique for him. I don't know, it's like the studio is always a sort of like this journey, this voyage, and like there's super rad days where something goes super well and exciting and a new idea, and there's other days you're like, no, we have to cut that part because it doesn't work, and you're like, I love that part, like I wrote that part. And you're like, okay, I'll give it up. So it's trials and tribulations, but I don't know, we're very collaborative and support each other, and I don't know. It was a success for sure.
I think like for me personally, like there was definitely a few moments where throughout the songs and like tracking vocals, things got like pretty emotional, and like to be in such a beautiful space with like my brothers here and Josh and like everybody understanding kind of what the song means to me. Like there was one specific moment, for Endless actually, and in order to get into where I wanted my headspace in, which was a very, very vulnerable place to be, I listened to a track of a friend of mine that had passed away and inspired that song, and we sat there and listened through the entire track before I went into the booth to record it. And I just remember like I had my hands here and I was just sobbing, like I was so upset. And then what's funny about it is like I remember looking down and seeing snot hanging like all the way down my front. And I was like, oh no. as I'm like just like grieving and processing and getting ready to really throw and put everything I had into that tracking moment. So I think having like having a safe and beautiful space to do that and not feel rushed and just have it open to accept and encourage the process of what each of us was kind of doing and experiencing with the album was a huge win.
It's like you've developed method singing.
Yeah, I am a method. I know. That's not. It's like pouring down my face.
I don't break character until the album comes out.
Yeah. Oh my God, I'd be so sad. No, I'm kidding. It's not all sad. It's just a couple moments.
Yeah, no, sorry. I just realized too, like another success was, I think, for Josh Gwillem, because he had been in a motorcycle accident like a few months before our session, and was like, you know, posted up in hospital and like I think he fractured his leg,
his shoulder, and like he was just pooped, and his hip. I think
his hip was banged up.
It was bad.
I think that was his first session, like tracking and producing again after that accident. So for a success, I think it was awesome, huge for him to be back at work and doing what he loves to do, and for us to like be there with him and going through all that together. So that, I think that was another, hopefully for Josh, and success too, was,
it was
like
for us to
overcoming
see him, like,
some
driving,
crazy shit.
because like when I think back, I was like, oh, September. I think that was like the original. We had an original date for the studio, and his accident was like a week or so, or so it was really short. It was really close beforehand. And I remember he literally called me after it happened, and he's in hospital, and I was like, Josh, what the I heard what happened. Are you okay? He's like, yeah, I'll be good to go for the studio in a couple weeks. I'm like, Josh, I don't know about that, dude. But like so eager and passionate, just like ready to go. So to see him back behind the board was like,
nice. He gives it all for huge. Well, every time I worked with him, he gives it all above and beyond, and he puts a lot more effort into those records than you would have to. So it was good to see him sort of like healing and overcoming some really gnarly shit, and again making a rad record with us.
100%.
Nice. Now I do have a couple questions from Twitch chat now.
Okay, yeah, let's go.
So Dartalica, I think I know who that is.
Who's that?
Asked, did you light any fireworks off at the studio?
Off the record?
Off the record? Off the record.
Yes. Well, not in
the studio.
But yeah, we had some Roman candles. I think they were just Roman candles. Nothing,
we had a few things.
Than that.
Yeah, we had so it was you, me,
damn it, Darty,
and Darty, and Jen, and so I think Marcello had to. He was out for the count that night.
He wasn't there that night,
and we partied. We partied, and we used one box of fireworks, like ran outside, and it's like an acreage, right? So there's nobody around, and we're just like being drunk idiots, like firing off these fucking...
We were on the road, not the field.
We're on the road, so it's like super safe. And then
it's okay.
I remember I was like, oh, we should save this box for tomorrow. Like, let's save it for tomorrow. And then everybody comes in, we're like, oh, we're gonna do the light. Like,
we were supposed to save the fireworks for like when the record's fully done. We listened to a mix. And like, let's celebrate.
We just got pumped. We got excited.
And we fired them off much earlier than that. and then I think when we got to that stage, we were like, let's light off the fireworks. Josh was like, I don't think that's a great idea. Like, we don't want to draw attention to the studio with all this COVID stuff going on and like new restrictions.
Because the new restrictions hammered that night.
Yeah,
and then,
so we're like, good idea. We won't fire the fireworks off tonight.
We would never do that.
Yeah. Another one from Dartalica, real quick.
Uh-oh.
Who's the best karaoke singer at OCL?
Marcello.
Marcello? I mean, with that record collection.
Also hilarious memories. Like, that's another great part of staying over was we fired up the PA in the rehearsal hall one night, and like
one night.
Well, like 4 nights. And yeah, again, we're burning off some steam and just like pumping the tunes and dancing and singing. And yeah, that's another super fun memory.
Marcello is a professional air bassist, so he pulled out that a lot. Right. Yeah, he's got like
he's a high rider.
He's a
Right.
Yeah.
I'm more of a low sling guy myself.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Respect.
I mean, no corn bassist, but
no crab walking, eh?
No. we've already covered this a little bit. Maybe just like your favorite thing was the best part of working at OCL. That's from Gone Cosmic Fan.
Oh my gosh, the best part about working out of OCL.
I just love like staying there and getting embedded. Like cooking together is always fun. Cooking for each other, jumping in the pool on the first record,
the community,
the shenanigans like overnight when like it is pretty cool to be left alone in this like super nice studio where like no one's around but the band, and you're kind of like, I remember the very first night of the first or the Krong Goblin record that we did out there. It was just Darty and I staying over, and we're sort of like creeping around the facility with like a gin in hand and like ice clinking around and kind of like looking at all the gear and be like, holy crap, this is so sweet. So yeah, just that whole experience of like embedding yourself in the process and you know, putting your day job and your other troubles aside for that session.
I think for me, like, yes, totally, like it really gives you the room to just like do something you absolutely love and thrive in with people that you love, and the experience behind that is so powerful. I think some of my favorite moments with OCL is like after all the tracking's done, the dinner's done, there's a couple gins, you know, but we would make our way to the tracking room and listen through what we did that day. And you get to like really steep in and be like on this amazing system, and you're like, shit,
isolating tracks and
crazy. Like, I would say fun. that was something else.
Nice. I'm gonna do one more question from the chat before I move on with my questions. This is my interview. So this is actually the reason I'm picking this is the last one before I move on is because I know exactly what they're referencing here. Tell us about the ham party.
Oh yes.
And how would a fan get an invite?
Ooh, well, this is a
bring a honey ham. No.
This is a tradition that
ready. Okay, ham on a bun in 3, 2, 1.
Ham on a bun. Ham on a bun. Yeah, this tradition originated in Regina, and we have to give kudos to our band bros.
Black Thunder.
Definitely
the boys.
One of the best prairie bands around. And they're super kind and have partnered up with us on a bunch of shows, both with Krong Goblin and Cosmic, and oftentimes they're putting us up at their place. And after one show, early on in our bro-relationship or bromance, they had like literally a baked ham waiting for us at the after party at their place. So I think we've done like 6 hams since then, like 3 or so in Regina. Like the tradition's carried on, and then Marcello did one last time when the guys were here. Darty had one at his place. And
it's like anytime Black Thunder comes to Calgary,
there's a ham.
There's a ham, and vice versa. There's a home ham here and a home ham. And
you've heard it here. Gone Cosmic and Black Thunder together. There's a ham.
So if you want in on that ham, all you got to do is come to whatever show we're playing together. You know, we'll buy a record too. Buy a Black Thunder record, and then jump in either of our vans on the way back to wherever we're crashing, and you'll get some ham.
I just take a minute because I just went, I thought it was cool. Okay. Cheers. Nice. Cheers, mates.
Okay, Francis, if you don't mind, can you take down some of those questions I missed, and we might come back to them towards the end. So rewinding, we're going to get into some Gone Cosmic deep lore.
Okay.
So Darty, Marcello, you, Brett, you guys have been jamming for a long time, like well before Gone Cosmic was even.
Kidding. Oh my God.
Well before Gone Cosmic was a thing. So how did you guys originally connect? I mean, obviously you and Darty are both in Krong Goblin.
For sure. We first linked up with Marcello, I think through Wild Bros. Because Darty and I used to play in a metal band called Titan, and one of the members of that band, Jeff Reagan, was working at Wild Rose, and I think Marcello was working in the kitchen at Wild Rose at that time.
He was drinking in the kitchen.
As you do. And then I think we first really got a hang going when Krong Goblin recorded our first EP, 2009, I think. And Marcello recorded it, engineered it in his basement in Killarney. And he hooked us up with a really good deal so that they could borrow like one of Darty's like JCM Marshall amps to record with something Marcello was doing, and probably with the big VJs at the time is my guess. So it was this sort of like mutual beneficial relationship, like, yeah, I'll record your band in my basement if we can borrow your amp for a while. Nice. And that really like cemented the relationship for sure with the three of us at the time. And we like are Sabbath fiends, if you haven't found that out yet. and we've played a couple cover shows over the years with Marcello on drums and me on bass. And I was just looking for an excuse to play bass because I've played bass since I was like a teenager, but hadn't really played like in a band since the Titan metal days. So that was a good excuse to like learn Sabbath songs and play them live. There's a couple of like cover shows at the Palomino, those Vanuary shows that are fundraisers for Vantopia. So we did that a couple times with different singers. And then, I think in 2018, we were like, okay, let's like get our shit together and actually start writing and experimenting like more seriously with the three of us. And so, we started demoing songs and writing together, and we came up with 7 songs that we had finished, and then we started, okay, let's find a vocalist. So we auditioned.
Walks in at, no, I'm kidding.
We auditioned a few peeps and twisted Abby's arm into hanging out with us, and she changed all of our lives for the better, for sure.
Well, it was funny because it was so random how I came into contact with Darty, actually. Because, I mean, my previous band was a soul Motown kind of...
The Torchettes.
Yeah. It was not in this genre. So I find in Calgary, like, there's different pockets of genres, and you'll go to those shows.
The scenes.
See those, the different scenes, right? So I was never a part of the heavier scene whatsoever.
Not old enough.
Wow.
No, that's not a dig on you. It's a dig on.
You're
dig
so
on
dig on the gray hair.
So I didn't really know a lot. I knew a few people crossover, but that was about it. And I was actually at work, and a band was setting up, and I was like slinging beers. And my boss was like, "You should get Abby to sing. She's a singer." And I was like, "No, I'm gonna pour you a beer though." And one of the attendees of that event came up to me and was like, "Hey, I work with a guy at the city of Calgary, and he's looking for a vocalist. What's your contact info?" And I was like, here's an email address, because this is a little weird, but okay.
Super random.
Like, I'm thinking like dad rock, guy works at the city.
that is our primary genre.
It is a primary genre. And then, lo and behold, like, not even a week or two later, I get an email from Darty, like a super long email, a bunch of demos. And I was like, whoa, this is crazy. And I sat down and listened to the demos, and I was like, whoa, this is cool. And I literally sat there and I'm like, can I sing to this? Because this is so far out of my comfort zone. And then can I write to it? So I sat down and I wrote to 2 of the tracks. And then I initially actually was like, wrote the 2 songs, and then I had cold feet. And I was like, Darty, like, I just left a band. Like, I don't know if I can do this again right now. Like, it's not you, it's me, kind of thing. And Darty responded and was like, you don't know if you don't try. But that's like
something
really,
about like fate only knocks
really
once,
really heartfelt message back to me. And I was like, oh, this guy's cool. Like, that's really sweet. So I went to the audition, and we played the 2 songs that I knew and jammed a little bit to the other songs. And then I remember leaving and sitting in my car right out front of Darty's house, and I literally went like this. I was like, fucking pick me. Like, this is my home. I'm here. Fucking pick me. And then I remember, like, I was literally like this. And then they messaged me again. They're like, oh, you want to get together on Saturday? And they'd already bought like a bottle of Costco champagne, and it was, and so began.
Oh, is that where the Kirkland's Finest comes from? Because I've seen the reference. Yeah. I don't get the reference.
Kirkland's Finest crop.
Yeah. Well, us old guys have a bit of an affinity for Costco. You know,
we're always at Costco.
Hey, I also love Costco.
Right.
Costco liquor.
Actually, we owe each other like 20 drinks now. We have this drinking game where every time you say the C word,
Darty's probably tallying it up right now. Yeah, it's probably using one of your.
No, Abby just literally showed up at Jam a couple of weeks ago with 4 Kirkland shirts. And like, okay, this is our new uniform now.
And that was that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. So, so you left the Torchettes before getting the invite to Gone Cosmic. What happened there?
Yeah.
Like, why did you leave?
I left. I don't know. It was something that I felt like I needed to do at that time. You know, like I was ready for change. And I think in life, you go through different sections and different chapters. And at that time, that chapter was
coming to an end.
It was coming to an end. I mean, they're still going, they're still playing and whatnot, and wish them all the best. Like, no hard feelings. But I made a move, and I'm gonna be honest. Like, it was the best move I could have made because like this came of it, and I just
we're quite thankful.
Like,
yeah,
it was one of those pivotal life, like, you're going this way and all of a sudden now we're going this way, and Gone Cosmic has become such a pivotal part of my life and my musicianship and the growth in myself as a vocalist, a lyricist, and a musician. Like, it is so much to me. So
I can't help but think of a Robert Frost poem.
Let me just get that out and we'll just so I think it was just time. It was just time. So yeah.
Cool. So with that first album, they had pretty much all the songs ready to go for you.
Yeah.
With the new album, was it like, did you have more input? Like, can we try something like this time? So there's more Abby on this album?
I would say so.
Yeah, like on the first record, Abby like co-wrote my design with us in terms of like the music. Like she was there for the full sort of creation of that track, which is really cool because
it's also one of my favorites.
Yeah, I think that's the closer on the first album, right? So that was a nice way to like, okay, we're maybe like stepping into like a new sort of world together.
Yeah.
And then with this record, like Abby was there for every single jam.
Yeah.
Workshopping ideas with us, helping with the arrangements, and like, hey, we need like a hook or a bridge here that's like this melody. Like, can you guys do something like that, or repeat this more times, or trim that? So yeah, like Abby's influence on this record is everywhere. And I think like for me on songs like Endless or Causeway, like Darty, when he was writing the guitar parts for that, like was very much thinking of Abby's voice and creating a lot of room for Abby to like be the true focal point of those songs. Not that you aren't on every song, but especially like really like featuring some of these more like naked, open, atmospheric, dynamic tracks that aren't just like heavy riffs. They're much more like melodic and dynamic. And so, yeah, like those songs, I think demonstrate sort of some of that writing for Abby or writing with Abby.
It kind of goes hand in hand though with like when I'm writing, we'll be together in the jam space and like I'll write right there with everyone, like melody wise and lyric wise, or I'll take what we did and write, but it goes hand in hand with like what the overall feeling of that song is, and where is it leading us. And I think that we all listen to it really in tune and fine tune and like really kind of psycho obsessed over like what does it need? And we shared that space between the four of us. Like there are highlights of Brett, there are highlights of Marcello, there's highlights of Darty and me, and it's all
everyone kind of gets their moment in the song.
Yeah, there's like this like ever living like orb, and we're just kind of navigating it. Yeah.
Neat. Nice. So okay, fast forwarding a bit.
Yeah.
You guys opened for Royal Blood.
Oh yeah.
How cool is that?
So cool.
It was so cool.
Literally one of the coolest days of all time. Yeah.
It was like a Monday, wasn't it?
It was absolutely the best Monday ever. Sure.
Ever.
I was amazing. Working from home, sitting at my desk, and I just get like a call, unknown number on my phone, and I don't honestly typically pick those up.
There's so many robots,
right?
But there did.
And I was like, I don't know, I'm just answering this one. It's like, hello, and. Yeah, it was Greg Curtis with Tooth Blackner, and they were looking for a band to fill in that night on super last minute. I guess the opener wasn't able to get out. They were stuck in Winnipeg because of that crazy snowstorm.
Yeah.
And so they were looking for someone to fill in last minute.
Get in there.
It was, a frantic messaging the rest of the band.
Yeah.
I'll call you back, but yes, we're gonna do it, but I just gotta confirm.
But give me 2 minutes. And then I was in a meeting, and
yeah.
then I hadn't even looked at my phone. I looked at my phone 10 minutes later. It was like, Abby! And I'm like, and then I realized what was going on. I was like, yes!
So, and then call back.
Yeah.
We're good to do it. And then he, Greg had to run it up the chain with Live Nation and Royal Blood, I assume, and all that, and get the approvals. So it was 2 hours of holding your breath, basically, please, 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 please.
Well, and it was also once we got it, it was oh, that's crazy. And then we get there and we're doing a sound check. And we're like, oh, this is crazy. And then we're gonna go on stage. And I remember I had set lists, and usually before every show, I'll go out and put a set list by everybody's equipment, and we're good to go. I go up there, and I'm I'm gonna go out there, and I was like, I ain't going out there yet. It's
There's 1,600 people out there.
So I mean, it was really, really cool to experience playing to a crowd quite a bit younger. It's been all over the place.
Diverse,
but, a lot of the people in that venue had never listened to Gone Cosmic before. Mm-hmm. So I think
they certainly weren't expecting to see us.
They weren't expecting to see us. So what kind of reaction are you going to get from a crowd like that, right? I mean, I don't know.
Literally nobody there is even knowing you're playing because you're
exactly we're filling
edition.
in last minute filling in, and they're anticipating to see this other band, and it was really, really cool to walk out, play the first song. Before he played, you see this weird who are these guys, in the crowd, and then we start playing, and then everyone's like, whoa, and then there's this movement happening with us, and people are getting actually really into it, and it was just the best Monday.
It was mind blowing. When the crowd sort of went off after the first song, I was like, that sounds fake. It sounds like
fake. Playing a track.
Yeah, there's an audience.
Fake audience noise, right? It was too big, and I just couldn't help but have the greasiest grin after that.
We were on such a high,
and it was a trip too, because we got good to go at 1 p.m. load in at 4.
Yeah.
So and we're working our day jobs. It's not like we had chance to go rehearse for that. So in some ways it was almost better to do it that way, because if it was you're going to be opening up for Royal Blood at Mac Hall in a month, we'd probably just be stressing the whole time, and we have to jam every single day and get super tight, but that we had played I think 2 weeks before or something, so we were fairly rehearsed, we were all right. I thought we crushed it and we played great, and so that was also very relieving.
Monday we played the Mac Hall show, and then I think it was Wednesday we were
London.
All flying to London for Darty's
bachelor party,
becoming a dad party, and our buddy Trenton was with us, Denim Machine, and all he heard pretty much, we played Mac Hall. So Trenton, if you know this, we
love you, buddy.
We did play the Mac Hall show because we were just on such a high. It was so good.
So that's the high.
Yes.
Lows.
Oh,
Abby, you literally fell out of the sky.
Yeah, I did.
Parachuting accident. It was 30 feet. Your canopy collapsed.
Yes.
And go ahead and tell us more about that.
Oh my God. Yeah, I didn't anticipate that to happen.
I don't think anyone ever does. Mind you, it is a risk when you're skydiving.
Oh, it is. It is a risk. It's an extreme sport. There's a lot of safety measures in place, but I mean, you're playing with the wind and you're playing with Mother Nature. So, anything can happen at any time, regardless of whether you're skydiving or not. And I was coming in to land, and where I essentially was too close to burble zone, so it's where wind will roll if it comes over a building or trees, and so it rolled, and I was right at the perfect point where it rolled, and it collapsed my canopy. So I fell the remainder of that flight, and I landed pretty much just right like this, right, almost like a roll from my ankle, but mainly on the right side of my body, and it caused an L3 burst fracture and L2 spinal cord injury. So I remember sitting there and I was like, don't move, it's all good, you'll be fine. And I had a shot of red go through both my legs. I hit the ground, it went, and then I couldn't move them. Like I couldn't, I was just like, I remember saying to myself out loud, you fucked something pretty good up here. So anyways, I make my way eventually to the hospital, and they immediately do all the scans and like, yeah, you've got to go in for back surgery like ASAP. So I was super high on a lot of pain meds, and I remember messaging my band, like these guys, and I was like, hey guys, I'm gonna be out for the count for a little bit, but neck brace just came off, all good, you know, like so high, so high. And then I went in for surgery, and they put 2 titanium rods in my back, and they fused L2, 3, and 4.
So you're saying you're an android?
I am. I'm bionic woman, actually.
Amazing.
That was the joke I made. I also was like, am I going to go off in airports? And they're like, this is what you're asking right now? Yeah. Yeah, it is. It is. So yeah, no, I call it my 2-month all-inclusive at Foothills.
Okay.
Where they fed me and they did many things. And they like sponge bathed me. But essentially I had to rebuild all the strength and wait for neuro reconnection to happen so I could learn and relearn how to sit up out of the bed, stand. When standing, balance is a whole new thing. Like you have to relearn how to move with this modified body like this. You know, it's all different. Yeah. It's all different. And I was in a wheelchair, and like the progression of going in hospital, I was in there for 2 months, and once I could move my toes a little bit more, I was like, okay, I'm gonna walk out of here. Like I don't know when, but I'm gonna fucking walk out of here. And I did. I did. I put a lot of work, and thankful for the nurses and the physio and all of the humans there, because they totally, and my surgeon, oh my God, I wouldn't be walking 20 years ago. You know, like there's no way. So anyways, yeah, I went through that whole process and then walked out. But then there was this residual issue with my throat. So during the surgery, had a breathing tube, and the breathing tube sat on my left vocal cord weirdly, and it actually caused vocal cord paralysis. So when yeah, which was, I didn't even know this could happen. But essentially when I woke up from surgery, I was talking like this, and this was as loud as I could talk. And jeez. I couldn't order coffee. I couldn't speak into the microphone for the nurse. Like they couldn't even hear me. Oh, wow. Couldn't sing, couldn't hold melody. Tried to sing to the Cosmic Tracks, and that was like the most heartbreaking experience of my life. And that was also a neuro thing. So I had to wait and see if it was going to reconnect and like heal. Right. And it took 4.5 months for my voice to start coming back. So it was gnarly. It's a good one. Yes, yeah, sum it up. It was gnarly. It was hard. It was really hard. But I'm here. I'm on the other side. We're releasing this record. You know, things are like definitely on the other side. Like September 8th is my 1 year, and that's coming up really quick. So I mean, I look at it, and even going back to the talk on the Future's Calling and kind of what that means to me, I look at this experience as I was a certain way and a certain person before it happened. I'm still that same person, but I have such a different perspective on things, and I have learned so much about myself and also, you know, disability, and like, oh man, it goes on and on, but I'm a better person because of that. Well, I wouldn't say I'd want it to happen to anyone or me again, or I wish I, you know, whatever, but I'm better off because of it. Yeah. That's an extremely optimistic viewpoint for someone who's broken their back.
You may be the youngest, but she is the most mature.
Okay.
All right. So back to the album. Okay. Good tour. You guys have the tour coming up. Yep. You guys will be playing Lethbridge, Calgary, Momentsfest in Siksika. Yeah. Winnipeg, Regina, Red Deer, Edmonton. Yes. First night is Calgary?
Lethbridge.
Yeah, Lethbridge. When is the first show?
September 2nd.
Yeah. September 2nd.
Friday next week.
Yeah, next week.
Okay, so if you're in the Prairie provinces,
come on out.
Let's do this.
Early September. Keep an eye out for Gone Cosmic coming to your local mid-sized town or large city.
Yep.
Oh, and I missed one. There's another one.
Saskatoon. We're just adding that one right now. September 8th, Saskatoon.
Yeah, and out of all those dates, where are you most excited to play?
Oh my God.
Well, Edmonton is always a blast. We're up there actually this weekend too for Purple City Fest.
Yeah, we are, yeah.
We love Edmonton. We'll hopefully see some homies up there. The Buds and Black Mastiff are playing. Swather and Black Thunder are also playing. So we hope to get a hang on. I don't know if we'll get a ham on because it's out of both our hometowns. We'll see. It has to be like a gas station ham or something.
I'll just bring some honey ham cold cut or something.
Yeah. Winnipeg too. That's Gone Cosmic's first time playing Winnipeg.
So
that's exciting.
And actually my first time in Winnipeg.
Oh yeah.
At all. So I'm super excited about that.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. So if the tour were to be extrapolated to international territories, where would you want to go the most?
Desert Fest London.
Hey, all right. Good choice.
That's the music fest we went to back in May.
Yeah.
And we had a hell of a blast out there together. And it was a sweet little band plus Trenton bonding experience to just like go on this adventure together and not worry about playing or hauling gear around and just like let's go listen to rad bands live and check out new stuff.
It was so good.
But yeah, definitely touring Europe and the UK is a goal for us. We've done it twice with Crawl and Goblin, but we got to get over there with Cosmic.
For
like
sure.
the scenes and the support for like psychedelic proggy heavy riffy stuff in Europe, like France, Germany, Switzerland.
Big cool festivals in Italy. Some
oh
great
hell
lineups there.
Yeah. So we got to do that, and we also haven't been to the States yet with Cosmic, so that'd be sweet to get down there too.
Absolutely. Yeah. Okay. So I'm sure this is a question that a lot of fans want to know, me especially. You guys are going on this tour for the new album. Will you have vinyl available at the merch booth?
You know we will.
We have it in hand.
We have it.
We're
not even waiting until the day before the show and hoping it arrives.
Yeah.
We have it.
It'll be there.
Okay. So it doesn't matter what show, it'll be there.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So we've got just a couple minutes left. I'm going to do some rapid fire questions from Twitch chat because we got a couple more. Do you use the Brokeback line for good or evil?
I use it for everything.
Okay. Do you guys have nicknames for each other?
Too many.
My brain went to like poopy bum bum for Marcello, but that's kind of weird. Okay, Marcello, we got Vito, we got the Italian Stallion, Darty, Dartalica, Doofy, Daddy, Devin Darty Purdy.
Devin Darty Purdy, Daddy Devin Darty Purdy.
It's actually a vocal warm up of mine. Daddy Devin Darty Purdy.
There we go.
Yeah.
He's like rolling his eyes right now. Bretsky's a good one.
Yeah.
And then just Abster,
Dabby.
It just depends on the moment.
Abs.
Yeah, I got steel hard abs.
Okay.
I don't.
Last question.
Okay.
Francis, can you pull up the picture?
Oh no.
Uh-oh.
What are we doing?
Could you explain this image? Because I don't get it. It's up on the chat now. We're just waiting for it. Explain this image. What is?
We were doing chores.
Well, yeah. So we jam at Darty's house usually, and he's like, "Okay, enough's enough. Like, get to work." So, no, I don't know. I think we were getting ready for like a show in Edmonton.
Yeah, I think we were too.
And we're like, "Okay, we got to do a post. Like, what can we do that's not boring?"
And then we just grabbed all this random shit that was laying around
Darty's yard. Like, why does he have a pitchfork in the middle of?
Is that a banister?
That's a banister rail.
Yeah, railing.
Banister rail.
And like we've got paint roller with actually no like
Darty looks
foam
tough.
roller on it.
He looks so tough. Hey?
Yeah, he's
like,
hard. Except he's got Birkenstocks on. Like, how tough can you be in?
Yeah, you know what? He's missing the cargo shorts. So.
And your socks are mismatching also.
Don't look at those. No.
The only reason people wear matching socks is because people like you are looking.
Exactly. Like I got the Birks and like Crocs and
Croc and roll.
Yeah.
Croc City.
Nice.
Croc
okay,
Central.
so one last thing, since this is a brand new show, there's something I'm trying out here. We're never gonna have a sponsor on the show because I'm my own sponsor.
Yes.
So I prompt my fans in the Discord to give me fake companies to sponsor the show. And unfortunately we didn't have time to put them in a hat for me to randomly pick one. So I'm gonna pick one right now.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, the very first episode of The Analog Universe featuring Gone Cosmic has been brought to you by Joanne's Roadkill Diner. There's a new special every day.
Yes.
Now, whether you're a fan of Whippoorwill on the grill or shake and bake snake.
Oh my God.
They have it, and they have new specials every day. It just depends on what they found that morning.
If you've seen it on the road, you've seen it at the diner.
So for all of you out there in Twitchland, Gone Cosmic is going on tour right away here.
Yes.
The album drops September 1st. It's available on Bandcamp. You can pre-order now, and the record should come to your house fairly quickly.
Oh yeah,
Oh, yeah.
we're on top of it. Dart
Yeah.
is actually very much the one.
Order now.
You guys are mailing them out from Calgary.
That's right.
Yes.
All right.
From
So
the
if you're in
brand.
Calgary, it won't take long at all.
That's right.
Come to the show if you're in Calgary or any of the cities, because you can just get it hand in hand.
And hey,
That's right.
if you're in Southern Alberta, go out to Siksika for Momentsfest, which is
Yes.
the very next day.
So
Amazing.
stoked for that.
So it's going to be a
Can't wait.
busy weekend for you guys. So yeah, this has been the first episode of the Analog Universe. We're going to call it quits there. Thank you everyone for tuning in, and roll credits.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks so much. Sick.
So fun.
That was